Hi everyone, I'm Holly and I'm so happy that you're joining me in my sewing room today. This is part 2 of making a quilt for my nan's 90th birthday. If you've not seen part 1, I highly recommend it, and I will put a card somewhere for you to watch that one before you get started on this one. I am hoping that we will get at least the majority of the quilt done today. I don't know how far we'll get with the binding, but I should at least quilt it today anyway. With the binding, I want to hand sew the reverse, so that's obviously going to take me a little bit longer. And also I want to make a little like happy 90th birthday, love Holly, that type of thing. I put that in the corner, so that might be quite fun to do a little bit of embroidery on my new machine. And we're going to start really by just doing a little bit of ironing, nothing too exciting. And I really don't know how I'm going to quilt it. We will just see how it all kind of comes together as we go. Okay, I'm ready to start quilting. It did actually take me some time to figure out how I'm actually going to quilt this, but I don't know if you can see, this is kind of like one block here. I'm just going to go down here, which will mean stitch in the ditch just for that one bit, and then down there, and then I'm going to go across, across, across. So I'm kind of splitting it into like 3 by 3 lines. So we're going to do that. I kind of like the pattern of it, so I don't want to detract from that too much. So hopefully it looks okay. That's the first one. Looks pretty good, nice and neat. The back looks good. Oh, it looks a bit puckered there, but it's actually not in real life. It looks fine in real life. I don't know why it looks puckered there. But yeah, my bobbin is running low. I think I might change it now actually. So everything is quilted in one direction. I'm quite happy with how that looks. I quite like how it segments them, so it's sort of like you're not sure where the quilting starts and the patchwork ends, if you know what I mean. Let's get started on the other way. I'm always pricking my finger with these pins when I'm sewing. Am I the only one that does this? It's finished. Well, quilting's finished anyway. And that is the reverse. You can see that quilting design a lot more clearly on the back. And now it's time for dinner, so I'm gonna put some food in the oven, and while it's cooking, I think I'm actually going to do the binding, because then this evening I can like hand sew it on the back. So I've pressed all my seams open, and now I'm just going to press it in half. So the quilt was all trimmed down. We've got nice neat edges, and I'm getting ready to sew the binding on. I did forget to mention that I cut my binding strips at 2 inches rather than 2.5 inches. Because this is a smaller quilt, I kind of wanted slightly narrower, more dainty binding on the edges, but it does mean that it's a little bit trickier. Because I have to make sure I'm definitely 1/4 of an inch in, and it's just there's a bit less give when you're kind of like tucking it round and hand stitching it. So hopefully we'll be okay. We should be fine. Everything's finished. I've just sewn that on. So you can see I've put the binding on one side. Obviously it's still yet to fold over, but it looks pretty good. And if I show you what it looks like when it'll be folded, I've just ironed it kind of outwards so it just sits a bit nicer on the front, but that is what it'll look like. And on the other side, like that. So it's nice and narrow, nice and dainty, and it doesn't detract. Sometimes I find with like 2.5 inch binding, it can look a bit chunky and heavy on the edge. So yeah, I'm gonna spend a bit of time putting some clips around it, and that I think will be my evening job, sewing the binding on. I need to work out what I'm going to do with the little embroidery message. So I need to work that out, because I'll probably sew it like under the binding. So yeah, we need to sort that out as well. I have some pieces of the white left over from what I cut, so I'm going to have a go at just testing a few fonts and things like that. I want to use a contrasting colour. I'm thinking of this pink, which goes pretty well, to be honest. That's the only dark pink I've got. Otherwise I've got red. Okay, this was literally my first go, and everything's like lined up almost perfectly to the point where I'm not even going to bother doing it again. So happy 90th birthday, Nanny. Love, Holly and Lee. Super happy with that, and I think that's like super stands out. It looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim between all of those letters so it looks better. I am going to go and get a hot chocolate, I think, and I'm going to go in bed and I'm going to watch a podcast of some description on YouTube probably, and I think I'm going to hand sew the rest of the binding done, and I will report back tomorrow once it's all complete. I'm so happy with how this quilt turned out. It's really, really sweet. I really love the fabric and the colours. I'm pretty sure my nan is gonna love this. I think the way I quilted it turned out really great in the end. I really like what it looks like on the reverse, but also I think it does actually emphasise and make the block pattern a lot more interesting. And I'm really happy with how this little message came out. The embroidery function with the fonts on my sewing machine, that just came out so good. And I sewed it on with little blanket stitch, and I think it just turned out so cute. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you're going to try out this block pattern from the Sewing Studio. It's a really great beginner block pattern and I absolutely love it. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.